Okay, guys, welcome back to the Conspiracy Podcast.
What up?
What's up, everybody?
We're here. Video. You asked.
It's weird.
We have provided for you.
So strange.
Don't say daddy didn't do nothing for you.
Hope everybody's doing good. Your Tuesday's going well.
Yeah. Or if it's going shitty, it's about to get better.
We have a pretty awesome two-parter for you guys. It is on the Boeing whistleblower and the Boeing evolution, I guess the downfall,
The conspiracy that is Boeing.
I mean, it's weird because it's not quite a downfall because it's like
Not
the biggest
yet.
company on the
They're
planet.
still crushing
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
So they're not really down, but
Maybe this is the start of the downfall. The
yeah.
downtrend
Exactly.
of Boeing.
So yeah.
Take us away.
Okay, so if you haven't heard, recently a couple people who were considered Boeing whistleblowers died under strange circumstances.
Or
Yeah?
killed. We could just say they were killed.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I'm not saying if you haven't heard, like, you've heard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
been
This is
everywhere.
whether you're paying attention.
yeah, that's right. So, but what I, after doing some research, this story actually goes back even further.
Oh,
So it's not just
not just right
the
now.
dude saying something's wrong and then dying.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back. So as we do on this podcast, we like to kind of give you a little bit of the history. And so here,
There's a lot of history on this one. That's why
Yeah.
we're going to make it into a two-parter.
yeah, it's probably gonna be two parts. So here we go. You know, why don't we dive in? So
Two
Oh,
parts. Two.
I thought they meant, like, cut it.
Cut.
But
Cut.
we should.
first thing though is I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee.
Okay.
Delicious
It's kind of early.
amber coffee here.
Okay, so the first powered flight of a heavier than air aircraft occurred on December 17th, 1903 by the right.
December 7th, though.
Yeah, close.
Yeah, close.
Yeah.
About 40 years off too, though.
Yeah, true.
By the Wright brothers. You guys have heard of this?
Yeah,
Of course.
they were,
This is basic American history.
they were in
Kitty Hawk.
North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina.
That's
It's
what I
called
thought, yeah.
Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Their aircraft, the Wright Flyer, made 4 flights that day.
And it was made of only wood.
Yeah.
It was like literally fucking plywood and glue.
It was 120 feet for 12 seconds.
That's amazing.
Hey, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. For the
So-
first
They were
one.
like, can you imagine being like, oh my fucking God, we're doing it. We're flying.
So obviously this is a famous story of American ingenuity and the start of aviation across the planet.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about this story is that this happened in 1903, and the start of Boeing is 1916.
Oh wow, they were like, we're fucking, we're doing this.
So the evolution
Tonight.
of this is wild, and you've probably seen on a lot of TikToks and a lot of videos where they go, how did we go from no flight to landing on the moon in 50 years?
I mean,
Pretty much.
yeah, because we went.
If we did land.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Here we go. And this is why Jorge's on the show.
So the history of the Boeing company is a journey through the evolution of aviation from the beginning to what it is today. Established in 1916 by William Boeing. And it was established as Pacific Aero Products Co. And the company played a pivotal role in shaping aviation from the beginning to where it is now. The first flight of Boeing aircraft happened on July 15th, 1916. So their flight was only 13 years after the first flight of man.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
They were like, and that was like commercial.
Yeah, the aircraft was the Boeing Model 1, also known as the Boeing B&W or the Boeing Bluebell,
I like
which
that.
was a seaplane designed by William Boeing and a Navy lieutenant named Conrad Westervelt.
Damn, what a
rad
fucking-
name.
Dude, yeah, that guy sounds like
Awesome
a legend.
name. Yeah.
Sounds like he should have like a coin after him.
So it happened in Seattle, and this is where Boeing started, was in Seattle.
Oh, did not know
And
that.
so it was the beginning of what would become one of the biggest companies on Earth.
Are they one of the biggest companies on Earth?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, because they also get like a bunch of defense contracts too. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're huge. They're
Yeah.
massive.
So the Boeing company began as a small aircraft manufacturer in Seattle. Its initial success came with the production of seaplanes for military use.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
During World War I. The company renamed to Boeing,
Oh, from the Pacific.
Pacific Aero, yeah, exactly. After the war, Boeing shifted to commercial aviation.
Is that a last name or something? Boeing? Or
Yeah,
what?
it was William Boeing.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you go. I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Or he's not listening.
Or it's like, where am I?
It's the first.
Whatever's in this Yeti is amazing.
This tea I'm having is really
Yeah.
good.
Spectacular. Tea, folks, in case you haven't noticed.
So in the 30s, Boeing continued to innovate, introducing iconic aircraft such as the Model 247, and it was the first modern airliner with an all-metal frame.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Okay.
They were still using like wood and shit, like wood
I
siding.
mean, yeah, basically. You know, the little 2x4s holding the,
Like
the fucking
wings are,
wheels.
like,
yeah.
shit stable,
Made
trust
out
me.
of pallet wood. Little DIY project.
Look, it's only good for like 2 years and then it just erodes.
So they also, one of the first things they developed was the B-17.
Oh,
And
shit.
This was known as the Flying
Dude, it's
Fortress.
a B-17 bomber, baby.
Yeah.
That thing's
Yeah.
a
That's right.
fucking big dog.
And so that B-17 evolved into what would become the B-29, which was the Super Fortress. And that was what carried the
They
nukes.
can't, like, well, it's also, it carries tanks and shit,
Yeah.
too. Like,
Yeah.
those things are
Oh, it's
fucking
massive.
so big. They're like,
Yeah.
how do they even get off the ground?
Yeah. So they...
It's like the one they had at the Airfest.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. They both went to the air show, by the way.
Yeah,
And
that shit was fun.
I was invited, so it wasn't like I was just left out. So but
Honestly, it was rad.
I didn't go
It
on
was-
purpose.
It was really
super
cool.
cool.
I
But it
mean,
was
aside
mobbed. It was
aside from
mobbed.
the... Yeah.
It was-
It was a
it was-
2-hour waiting.
Yeah, for
kind of.
everything.
Yeah.
For every.
For like
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, for fucking everything, dude. You want to
And
buy
then
water?
they decided not to have shade
So they're,
yes.
they're like, fuck.
yes.
anywhere. So like 1,000 people were parked under a plane.
Yeah, under the plane, the wing.
Yeah.
under the B-27.
Yeah, just
yeah, exactly.
just the kids screaming because they're dehydrated, and it was a good time.
So happy.
Yeah,
I
it was a
didn't
good
go.
time.
So
yeah.
happy I
It's
didn't
fun.
go.
Yeah.
Trust
It was
me.
free.
It was free?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
free to get it.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was free.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it was worth
It's
it.
Not my. Wouldn't be free.
Yeah.
The
True.
The harassment I would have
Dude,
received from my child.
I
is,
know.
Like, not free.
Chicken tenders.
Oh yeah.
$29.99.
20 bucks, yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
I mean, I'm exaggerating, but yeah,
No, it was
pretty
up
much.
there, yeah.
Yeah, it was up there.
25.
No. No, it was $18.99, not including fries.
Not including like sauce.
Yeah,
And
or
you,
something like that.
you want a drink? It's another $20.
Yeah.
Was it
Oh, yeah.
like booze?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Like I wouldn't have gone.
Exactly.
Canceled.
That's the only reason me and Eric
Shut
went.
up. All right, kids, go have fun. I'm gonna spend $400.
So
Back to
as
Boeing.
as these companies do, like during the war, they for lack of a better word, they blow up, they explode, they
it's
grow,
it's
they
all
get
that- all that
huge.
guaranteed
Yes.
funds.
Yeah, exactly. So the war ended, and then they had to further their innovation in order to move towards passenger airliners. You know what I mean? But they did, and they revolutionized air travel, and they actually were the ones who made it so in the 60s air travel became affordable.
I
You're
wanna know-
commercial,
I have a
like-
really I have a-
Commercial, yeah.
I have a really
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah.
Did they just stop having like smoking and shit on planes because because no one wants to be around that smoke, or is it because of like
It's
an
probably,
Yeah.
actual like?
Nah, it had to be like
Secondhand
some
smoke.
fire or some shit. No.
Dude, they were ripping
No.
like.
Secondhand smoke.
Do you remember? I remember
Right?
my first couple times on a plane.
I
They still had
understand
the
it.
ashtrays. Like
I
in,
know.
like,
Oh,
the,
yeah.
in the
Hell
armrest.
yeah.
I know.
Like,
I
have you
mean,
ever seen
cool.
the There's like a video going around on TikTok, like this old school. It was like from 1980, so maybe not that old school, about drinking and driving, and then people are getting so pissed off that there's a new law you can't drink while you drive. They're like,
Oh.
"What's a man supposed to do when he gets off work? I gotta wait until I get home."
I can't crack a beer in the
I've seen
car.
that. I
How
have seen
dare
that.
you? Like, what's a man supposed to do when he gets off work? I just bought the 6-pack. It needs to be drunk.
Dude, my grandpa would drive and drink Tecate Light
Yeah,
and just in his pickup truck.
Well, yeah.
like a
I mean,
fucking
yeah. 700
that's
later.
Tecate
like, I'm
for
starting
the
getting drunk.
translation.
Tecate.
Tecate.
What does
Tecate.
that stand?
Yeah, what does that mean?
in English?
I don't know.
Bud.
I thought you were
Yeah,
Mexican.
but
It's Bud.
it's the bush.
Bud.
It's the bush of
yeah.
Mexican beer.
It's like Bush Ice. Tecate.
So in the 60s, like I was saying, they basically made the industry. They made it so that, you know, the businessman can fly from LA to Chicago in an affordable way.
Yeah.
You know? And
Way
they,
more affordable than driving.
And
Yeah.
it used to be like a whole event. Like people used
Ah,
to get fucking
yeah.
like,
You get
Oh,
steak
yeah.
dinners and shit.
yeah,
Like, it was like,
Yeah.
it
and
was-
people would get like dressed up.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
you were in suits?
nowadays, fucking people showing up in like
Oh my
pajamas
God.
and Crocs and
honestly,
whatever.
you can see the evolution of cost cutting.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because at the beginning you go, okay, every seat had
Is that fucking
ample
lazy
room,
boy?
yeah,
Like,
ample room,
Hell yeah.
a little cocktail. I mean, even DB Cooper had like a whiskey and a Coke.
That's
or what
true.
Did he, what did he
Yeah,
have?
yeah,
He had
something
He
like
had
that.
something,
It was
yeah.
$3.99.
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't in like economy plus.
Yeah.
Like, he was like fucking just like Reggie.
Now I'm literally
Wasn't
going.
at Eric status, economy business.
Yeah,
Well, silver. I mean, it's
Silver,
not a big deal.
silver.
It's not a big deal. Whatever.
Continental
It's
silver,
not a big deal.
Correction.
platinum.
No, but nowadays you basically are literally groping people because you're so close to them, you're
Oh,
so tight,
true.
and it's all because they're cutting costs.
Yeah, I mean, you ever have like the awkward armrest moment?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I'm the biggest guy in the plane. I'm like,
Mm.
and I'm still forced to like
Yeah.
give up my like 2¼ inch
Yeah.
of armrest.
I put up with that. What I hate is when it's like
Oh,
my
the knee
knees
on
are
the
hitting
thing?
the
Yeah.
seat in front of me. I hate it.
Dude,
Yeah.
we did when we had our honeymoon
Mm.
in Spain. We flew from England to Spain, and this was the shittiest. It was a full massive plane.
It's like chickens in
Like
cages.
I literally had to have my legs like up to my chest. It was that small. And I was like, "Do you have like
That makes
even
me claustrophobic, man.
Even the exit row was like, you're fine. Like there's no
Yeah.
space anywhere. I was like, how do people fly?
Oof.
Anyways, because you're.
I have an actual problem. I'm gonna just tell the whole audience. So I have elevated arm hair.
Yes, I can.
So
see
if I'm sitting in the armrest situation, I'm not necessarily touching somebody.
but the hair is touching them.
yeah. So
The hair is like.
so literally, it's like tickling somebody.
And they're like,
It's
"Stop
a
touching."
problem.
Like,
Yeah,
stop
it's
touching
an
me.
actual
Stop tickling me.
problem.
You're
I'm
like,
trying to go
my
to sleep.
hand is in a fist. I don't know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
it's an actual problem.
You're like, listen, bald man.
Maybe before I go there, I should just shave this part,
One
just
side.
one slot. And I did it for you.
No, but what if
Yeah.
what if you're in the window?
What if you're in the middle? If you're in
Oh,
the
you're in
middle,
the middle.
you gotta do both.
Double times. Yeah,
Just cut your
we're
arms
fine. Yeah. Anyways,
off.
yeah. So, in the 1980s, Boeing further expanded its reach into the aerospace industry with the acquisition of aerospace and defense assets, including the merger with a company called Vertol Corporation, which was a helicopter manufacturer.
Cool.
And the acquisition of Rockwell Internationals, another aerospace division. So they just keep kind of expanding in aviation and kind
Gobble
of
'em
just
up.
keep going, you know. In the 90s, Boeing started to face some challenges. They finally had some competition.
Damn it!
and
No
so-
more monopoly.
Yes.
It's bullshit.
So a company called Airbus. Have you heard of
Oh,
Airbus?
yeah.
Dude, they make the super sick ones like if you fly to Dubai, like the double decker, like they're huge.
Yep.
It's so
Yeah.
awesome.
So
That shit looks
Airbus
cool.
started manufacturing planes, and it didn't happen overnight. Like, just imagine you get 1% of the market, and then a year later you got 2%, and then
killing it.
5 years later you got 3%.
That's a
and
huge
then-
market, though.
You know what I mean? And then you keep going, and then eventually what happened? I won't spoil it, but they kept going. They kept expanding Airbus.
Okay.
Okay.
And it became a problem in the 90s
Okay.
For Boeing.
for
like,
shareholders.
you need to kill these.
You know what I mean?
Boeing.
For Boeing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, think about it. If you had 90% of the market.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry. There's something called like antitrust laws. It's like
Yeah.
there's a reason that you can't have a monopoly. There's a reason that Microsoft got shut down back in the day to let Apple thrive.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
it's not like you imagine like the shareholders of Microsoft being like, but we're killing it. Like, let's just. Why is this happening? We're killing it. Like we're killing it right now. What's happening?
So basically, up until 97 or 95-ish, Boeing had pristine reputation. And they even had a saying, people had a saying in the industry, and it was, if it's not Boeing, I'm not going.
Well, that's a dude.
Sounds
That's
familiar. Yeah, I think I
trendy
heard.
shit.
So it was like
that somewhere.
Boeing was the
It's a gold
premium.
standard.
It was the Mercedes. It was the, I don't know, give me some more. It was, what's the gold?
It was
What's
like the
top?
conspiracy podcast of podcasts.
You know what?
Yeah.
Jorge, you're on
You're
to
onto
something.
something.
here.
Exactly.
You are on to something.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the
That's what it is.
That's what it is. They were the conspiracy podcast of air flight.
So, so in 1997, Boeing merged with McDonnell Douglas, and
87?
that 1997.
97. Okay.
And this is when a lot of conspiracy theorists and a lot of whistleblowers say
Shit
it
went down,
really,
down.
really things started to change. Eventually, the CEO of McDouglas took over as CEO of Boeing.
Oh, so he's like, we're gonna go to the McDonnell Douglas standard.
Yeah, and so just
Cheap as
imagine,
fuck and
yeah, so
maximize profits.
just imagine your company for the last 30 years is all about culture,
Quality.
and it is perfect. Otherwise, don't do it. But so just imagine, the culture was that, and it was about perfectionism, and it was about safety, and it was about making the best airplane that you could make.
Yeah,
and then a new company came in,
So like,
Start
a lot
taking
of-
your shit.
changing your policies.
yeah, how much cash can we make?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We can
exactly.
cash this out.
Maybe letting go of every third person
Yeah.
who maybe was like there for 35
that's the thing
years.
about
All the
it.
quality
Who was-
control
yes,
techs, they're
yeah,
like-
Well, that's the
exactly.
problem with like public companies is that it's all
Money
about
motivated.
shareholders.
Bottom line, baby.
Bottom line.
Yeah, it's like,
you gotta cut costs everywhere.
Yeah. So as of today, here's where Boeing kind of stands. You ready?
Ready.
141,000 employees.
That's a fucking shitload of
Whoa.
That's
Across the
a
planet.
lot of, that's an extraordinary amount.
Boeing competes with Airbus. Now, as of today, Boeing held 45 to 50% of market share.
That's a great
In
market share.
In the 80s and 90s, they were
Yeah,
at 80 to 90.
Right.
But obviously, you can't. If they had that now, they would get.
Oh yeah, they would get
the
split
government would be like, sorry.
up. Mhm.
Yeah. Boeing's revenue fluctuates, and you could look it up. They're a publicly traded company, but essentially it's 58 to 60 billion per year.
Per
Yeah,
year.
and, I mean, they're lucky that because that's what happened to happened to the Bell Corporation because they had a monopoly
True,
on
true.
telephones. It happened to Standard Oil.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
happened to Microsoft. It happened it's just
Yeah.
the reason those
It would have
rules
happened. It
exist.
would have happened anyway.
It would have happened.
Like,
So it's
yeah.
like at least they it naturally glided down
Yeah.
before they had the government intervene.
No pun intended.
Ooh, oh wow. Whoops, it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then I wanted to go over a little bit of the airline industry and mainly Boeing, but because when I was doing some of the research, I realized how safe it is.
Oh, it's statistically so much safer than driving.
It's
yeah,
insane.
100%.
Oh, it's like you have like an 80% chance higher to die while driving than flying.
It's
Yeah.
it's an amazing feat, actually. I thought of mankind that they were able to put regulatory companies or oversight committees, and they were able to make it so it was so procedural, and so many people checking on it that it became that safe.
Well, yeah,
You
I mean,
know?
all the air traffic control systems
All
in
of it.
place, and there is
Yeah.
they have to communicate within a
Yeah.
certain amount of time,
But just the aircraft
consistently.
itself,
Oh,
like
the
being
aircraft
safe.
itself
Yeah.
is definitely super
Yeah.
safe for sure.
But they didn't really have like issues like that, right, at the beginning, or I mean,
Yeah,
they
they
did.
did.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So then that's why they brought in all these committees, make sure everything's safe.
Yeah,
and all that shit.
yeah.
Got it, yeah.
And hijackings and
Whoa. But
security.
again, that's
No,
not
but
to
they're,
the aircraft.
They're all around air flight. Like
Okay,
it's,
right.
Okay, then you add in security problems. Then you add in
But the hijack that was just 20 some years ago.
No, but I mean, even like DB Cooper hijacked, a bunch of people
yeah.
in Europe hijacked,
Okay.
the one
Yeah.
in Kosovo hijacked.
So you're just talking about it overall, like
just the industry
Yeah,
and
the
the
industry-wide,
evolution of it
yeah.
all, and the fatality rate for commercial aviation is measured in fatalities per billion.
Oh wow, so it's that's how small
Per
it is.
billion
It's like part-
kilometers flown. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I was
So
gonna
it's
say,
like, man.
we're never gonna get to that.
No, they're like we're at literally 0.0000001%.
So, according to the International Air Transportation Association, the global average fatality rate for commercial aviation in 2019 was approximately 0.09 fatalities per billion.
Per billion,
Billion
miles,
passenger
miles
kilometers
flown.
flown.
Kilometers flown.
Okay, so think about that. 0.09 fatalities per billion miles flown.
Now, about how many billion
So-
miles
so
do we fly a
billion-
month
one
or a
second,
year
wait,
or
wait,
what?
One second,
Good question.
0.09. So it's for every 10 million miles flown, there's 9 people who die.
But again, like how often are we flying 10?
Oh, I mean,
wait, 10 million or 10 billion?
No, so if you
10
if
million.
you move the decimal twice, you go from a billion, 100 million to 10 million.
Yeah.
And then so then
Okay.
0.09, so it's 9 people die for every 10 million miles flown. But I guarantee there's probably 10 million miles flown in 2 days.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or 1 day.
That's what I was
it's
thinking. Like, it's not that much.
So
If you take
there's
all the
estimated-
flights-
it's
Yeah, I mean, in
estimated that
terms
there are 100,000 flights a day.
But what's the
Yeah,
average
but
flight?
miles.
Yeah, in terms
Maybe
of
what?
miles.
What do you think?
I would say a
Average
couple
flight,
days.
2 hours, right?
2 hours. They're traveling anywhere from 300 to 500 miles an hour. So let's just do a little math here. So let's say that
Maybe even 400 miles.
let's just say the average
An hour.
let's
Yeah.
just
So like
say
from
the
here to
average-
Texas is
So 800
1500?
miles.
Let's just say
per
the
flight.
average flight is 800 flights, and there's 10,000 flights per day.
800 miles.
800 miles, but let's convert that to kilometers.
100,000 flights
So 100,000 flights per day.
per day.
All right, so that's 422 million kilometers per day,
Okay.
and then times 365, that's 154 billion, 176 million kilometers per year,
Okay,
and then times 0.09. So, wow,
no, it was 0.009 if you're in the billions.
it's per billion, right? It's 0.09 per billion.
per billion.
009.
No, it's
0.09.
0.09.
Oh, okay.
So if you times that times 0.09,
It's 9 people dying every 4 days.
I mean,
Right?
no, it's okay. Sorry, I'm doing the math wrong here. So
Right.
yeah, so about roughly 14 people die a year.
A year. Yeah.
That's where we're going
Okay.
about 14 people a year.
Okay.
Sorry, because I was timing
Okay.
I was timing the total kilometer thing by 0.09. I'm
Yeah.
like 13 million people dying per
Yeah.
year. That does not
That's
sound
it.
right.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Statistically,
well,
that,
across
that
the
makes
planet.
sense.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
average.
yeah,
So it's
it's
an
average.
average. So it's like maybe one.
So
like
one-
in 1 year, there's like a couple crashes, and then there's a couple years without them. So.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right,
we're
there's
also-
your math lesson for
Yeah.
today, folks.
No, but
Damn.
we're also just like we're guesstimating it based off an average flight of 800
True.
800 miles. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
But
like
more or
total.
less, let's say about 15 a year, whatever, right? Let's go with that
15
number.
people.
Yeah,
you know how
15
many-
people
I
per
mean,
And
year.
then the average flight is about 150 passengers.
I mean, but guess how many flights there
That's
are?
not that bad,
You know how many
man.
flights
Like,
there are
statistically,
from
like,
Tampa,
so it's one
from
every 5
Tampa
years.
to England every day? I think there's like 2 or 3 from
Yeah.
Tampa to England every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got to average it out.
But
at
then you
some
also
point.
got people going to Miami.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you
I know,
yeah.
but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that flight is like, that's
Yeah.
like 4,000 miles.
Yeah.
Like, so whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
continue.
Okay.
Anyways.
Okay. But I mean, overall, the point is, it's. I mean, that's one of the safest statistics
extremely
that
safe, yeah.
exists.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know how many people died
Of-
today from
yeah.
car crashes? Like,
No.
way more
And
than
I
that.
bet
Probably
if you-
that
I bet
a
if you-
day
I
in
bet if you-
Clearwater.
Yeah.
You know
or
how
if
many people died today from the heart disease?
yeah, or if you did something simple, it was like, okay, if we walk to 7-Eleven right now, what are the odds of us dying?
Like, probably
One
higher.
of us dying is probably high. You know,
probably pretty good odds.
in this hood.
Yeah, I know. In this ghetto. So it's just a safe,
It's
I don't
super
know.
safe.
It's
It's very
impressive. And I mean, I don't like to bring up the whole pyramids thing, but it's impressive what man has achieved.
We love to bring that up.
Oh my
If you
God.
Here
think
we
about
go,
it, if you
man.
think about it,
Fucking
it's just
bullshit.
impressive what.
What man has achieved?
Man is capable of anything.
God, you know what's impressive? Like
the heights that man is capable of.
how much hype you put on man's achievements.
I know. I'm proud of man.
Thousands of years ago.
They were way smarter than they are now.
According to
I'm
Eric.
like,
By the way, I actually
According to Eric,
finally.
we've just like literally gone downhill since the pyramids.
Yeah, and then we
as
just-
far as man's skills.
and
Actually-
we're finally on the come up.
No,
Yeah.
We're on the come up.
Thanks to AI, we're finally getting back to even.
back to zero.
So the other day, I woke up at like 4 in the morning, and I just
Great.
couldn't fall back asleep, and I was just sitting there, and I think I figured out how we should do the pyramids episodes.
Okay.
I think I figured out like the basic concept, right?
Okay.
I think we should do one episode that is kind of like, a vanilla kind of history of the pyramids being built, and then Sean gets an episode, and then I get an episode.
Okay.
Oh my
And
God.
our goal
It's a battle?
is to
It's just sway
see
Jorge.
what he decides at the end of it. And so it's a 3-parter.
If you can sway Jorge, I'll quit the podcast. I'll
You know what I mean?
legit
And then
quit the
it's a
podcast.
3-parter, and you get to say all your arguments, and you get to lay it out and do all your research of how you could argue it, and then me too.
I like that.
And then you know what I mean?
You know what? I like
Yeah,
the
it's like a
concept.
good-
You
yeah.
can- if you change, I'm literally leaving.
Hey, it's up to Eric.
Just saying. Yeah, it's an idea.
Yeah, well, good for you. You will give
See,
it,
I'm
you-
already on your side, so it's all up to
That's
like the
true.
burden of
Yeah,
the
the-
burden's on
I know.
Eric.
Yeah.
The burden of
It's
proof
a
is on
harder
Eric.
sell for me. Yeah.
But you were saying you work up at 4 a.m. Like, yeah, I also work up at 4 a.m. by a small
Well,
human who I'm responsible for
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Okay, so fast forward a little bit to the Lion Air disaster. Have you heard of this?
I fucking never
No.
heard of this
No.
shit.
Okay, so Lion Air is a it's. Do you know where Jakarta is? It's Indonesia.
Yeah.
Okay, It's a small airline that was founded there, and it's based out of there, and it does flights from there as their main hub. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's-
And just before we get going on this, they are not allowed to fly into the United States because of our FAA says that they're not up to the standards of airlines into the United States.
Sure.
Damn. Okay.
So that's probably why you've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Coming into Gate A2 is Jakarta Airlines.
So they were founded in 1999. It's the largest privately owned airline, and they do domestic and international. Lion Air Flight 610 was scheduled to do a domestic flight from Jakarta to Penang, and it departed Jakarta's airport on October 29th, 2018. This is pretty recent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is hella recent.
The aircraft involved was a Boeing 737 MAX.
Sounds big.
Okay.
The Max in there.
Now,
The
just so you know,
Max.
this airplane is the topic of the rest of the content that
737?
we have.
Oh, it's a 737 Max. It's
Okay.
like
737
they just
Max.
fucked
So what's
them,
the- what's
This is the whistleblower. This is his.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is his. He's upset about this play, or he was.
He was.
But
Uh,
what
this
is
is
the most common one that we use now? Is it
So-
737?
737,
Yeah,
but the
737 or
variants.
747, yeah.
I thought seven. Oh, so
think
both.
both, yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's so many variants of it. It's like the iPhone 1 to
Okay.
15.
Okay. Which Sean wouldn't know
So
anything
there's
about.
yeah.
Yeah, because
So I don't know.
I'm smart.
Samsung.
Sean is like the lion. He has like the Lion Air kind of phone.
What? That's just better than yours? That's just better than yours in
Lion
every
Air.
possible way?
He's got the Lion Air Note 3.
Okay, I want to. Okay.
I am a
Whoa,
hater.
whoa.
A hater of his phone.
Okay, so can we have our archive list go through the episodes? How many times has Jorge been like, "Well, yeah, I mean the camera is better," and yeah, I mean
So
this is
true.
better.
Hey,
yeah,
I
it
admit
is
it.
true.
I admit the camera.
Everything else is better too.
No.
Oh, with like your stupid fucking bullshit. Ugh.
So the 737.
Anyways.
So the Boeing 737 MAX was the new 737. Okay.
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 So they called it the MAX.
The
it was the
Max.
upgrade.
Yeah.
It
I
was
know,
the whatever. Yep.
It's like the
HBO.
14 Pro.
Yeah,
And
now-
the 14
now-
14 regular.
Literally, exactly.
Now, what we will learn later is that the Boeing 737, the original design, dates all the way back to the 70s.
Oh wow! So
Okay.
they were like no innovation.
So what they
There was like,
what
we
they,
added a
Why
new
change-
screw on
why-
it.
no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. No, you're 100% right. So what they did is they found out that if you keep the base design, you have less time to go through the FAA. It's kind of like
Oh,
getting,
you can cheat the system like
Yeah.
it's the same plane.
it's like
What's
getting
the problem?
it's like you don't have to get Viagra through the FDA because you call it Viagra Max.
Viagra,
Yeah.
yeah, Viagra Max.
Do
Or
you
you
know what I
just
mean?
do the generic version.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
you
it's
do
the
it,
same
and
formula.
it's a quick version
Yeah,
to get
guaranteed
through
4
it.
hours plus.
That's right. So we'll go over that a little bit later.
Max.
But so they took hold. They got this 737 Max, right?
Okay.
Okay, so Flight 610 was carrying 189 passengers and crew members, including pilots, flight attendants, passengers, etc. And the flight's route typically lasted an hour. It was an hour flight.
So it's like
Not a
quick-
big deal.
quick jump,
Yeah. Pre-flight prep involved routine checks by the ground crew, maintenance personnel. The flight crew conducted pre-flight briefings, checked the weather. The weather was clear. Flight plans, they were good to go.
Yeah.
Everything was good. Takeoff and initial stages of the flight proceeded normally with the aircraft climbing to cruising altitude. However, shortly after takeoff, the aircraft experienced erratic flight control behavior, with the flight crew struggling to maintain a stable flight. So
Oh,
all of a
like
sudden,
instantly it's like, what
it was
the fuck's
going like
happening?
this
Holy shit.
after 5 minutes in the air.
That's
just
scary.
like this.
Have you ever been in like super bad turbulence?
I say I have, but I don't
It's never
feel like I
was
have.
super bad. It was
Yeah.
like I've been in like moderately bad, but it's
Okay.
never been like where they're like they're like we're fucking
Or-
experiencing some shit.
Or where the shit like drops down?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
not
I've
that
never
bad.
had that.
Yeah.
No, I've never
I mean,
had
I haven't had it that bad
I would
either,
have
but-
freaked out. I would have.
I
Like,
know, right?
I'd have like freaked out.
Yeah.
I would say the worst I've been in, I did pee on myself.
That's pretty bad.
So like I was in the bathroom.
Were you drunk? Oh, you
No,
were in
no.
the
I
bathroom.
was in
Oh.
the bathroom.
Oh,
What
and
the
you get
fuck?
You get like the turbulence, and then you hit the wall.
But that's. I thought you meant like you peed
Oh,
like
no,
in your
no.
seat.
I
No,
know.
no, I was in the.
I was scared shitless. I peed myself. Oh,
No,
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 it's
that's
just
what I'm
bad.
saying.
Scared penis.
Yeah, like I got up when they told me not to get up. I went to the
You're
bathroom.
like-
Oh yeah.
You're like,
I've done,
and
I've done
and
that
then
too.
yeah,
Eric's
yeah.
like, is it against the law?
Yeah.
Is it against
I was like,
the law?
bro, I am like 3 $9 beers deep. I have to go to the bathroom.
tonight, right now.
So they started like shaking around.
up and down.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It was going like.
So basically, the pilots were trying to pull up, and the plane was pitching forward.
Oh, so like the.
So they're like, "What the fuck?
like,
yes.
it's
Why
like,
is it going down?
Who inverted
Yes.
my settings?
Exactly. So the aircraft experienced erratic flight control behavior, and the flight crew struggling to maintain a stable flight, and it led into them crashing into the ocean at full speed.
Oh shit!
shit.
They couldn't
And,
even slow down.
Yeah, and every person on the plane was killed instantly. Basically.
Ooh.
I mean, how did they?
I mean,
they don't know
yeah.
that. But like,
Well,
you
based
would
on
hope that you were
the
killed
box,
instantly.
based on the box that they found,
Mhm.
they know the speed. So they were going like 350 into the water with the
Oh, the
engines
water's just like
all the
concrete.
way.
Yeah, so it's like-
I mean,
Yeah.
and then nothing remained of the fuselage or the fuselage. So I mean, odds
are they all?
are it was pretty
Yeah.
pretty fast. So what they
I think
determined.
that's my worst fear, like in the water.
Crashing?
Like,
Oh, no,
crashing
but
in the
so-
water.
but not dying
I'll
immediately.
fucking
water?
crash. Yeah, I'll crash in the
On
city, in the
land,
pavement.
yeah.
Yeah, like just have me blow up
In
and
the
like
city.
I'm
Yeah,
done.
it's like,
But
Why?
like,
Like
because
sharks?
the drowning.
No,
No,
drown to death in the
drowning.
middle of the ocean. That's way worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you swim?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not while you're fucking
Not in the
buckled
middle
up,
of the ocean?
going hitting 350 miles an hour.
Yeah, like, I'm
So
not
all
Tom
the
Hanks,
places
bro.
you would rather
go
go on land?
mountain, bro.
Yes.
Send me into a
Yes.
mountain. Like,
Fucking
I want
get it.
guaranteed
You
death
guys are
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'll go in the water. You have a better chance of living.
in the middle of
No,
the
but
ocean.
but you're gonna die. Let's say you're gonna
Oh,
die.
but I'm not gonna die.
No, but you are. Like,
I
let's
mean,
just,
me personally, I'm not. Like
Eric,
I'm
what
a tuck and duck. Tuck and duck.
breaking news: there was one survivor.
One survivor out of
like- they were like-
everybody.
They were like, "Well, how did you do it?" He's like, "Tuck and duck." Yeah. They're like, "What?" It's like,
It sounds like
fuck
Talladega
does-
Nights.
I was like,
Yeah.
I tucked and I ducked.
So I mean, obviously, I know we're joking, and you know,
It's-
Yeah, but that's
but
sorry.
you know,
It sucks.
um,
It super sucks.
so 189 people died, and what they determined was there was something that they installed on these new planes, and it was called MCAS. MCAS.
that's right,
Yeah, and it stands for Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, and basically it was like, if you could just imagine, it's not AI, but it's an alert system.
Mm-hmm.
So if the pitch of the plane is not correct, it will autocorrect.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, yeah, it's in essence, it's a system that
It's almost like cruise
It's
control.
almost, yeah, it's
Yeah, a little bit.
or it's like course correction. You know, like some, like if you're going out of your lane, it's like, hey,
Oh,
bitch.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
I know.
Now,
I turn that shit
what
off,
would
man.
happen though is if it never ended correct, it controlled you so much
This is like crash you.
Yeah.
that it crashed you.
You're like, no, I'm getting it stable. They're like, this is not correct.
yeah.
It's like this
So
is
it kept correcting them.
correcting them down.
So they installed this on the Boeing, the 737 Max, right?
Yeah, so pretty much,
And-
we need more patrons so Eric can afford to get the fucking the full self-driving.
Please.
More patrons.
But essentially, the sensor, and so here, where did they get this? First off, right, is they got it from they call it the black box.
Yeah.
They retrieve the black box, and the black box provides so much data that it could tell you everything you want.
Probably like all the systems that were
Everything.
maybe airing and like all the
everything.
stuff. Yeah.
And funny enough, on this, I learned that it's not a black box; it's an orange box.
Oh, really?
Why do they call it black
I know.
box then?
I think the originals were black. I
Oh,
don't
they
know,
were
we'd
like,
have
we
to-
gotta make them easier
yeah.
seen.
Yeah,
Like
and
in
it
like
sounds
and a
cool.
wreckage, you're like, it's all black.
It sounds cool, but they're actually orange.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because if you think about it, orange is easier to find.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
can
yeah.
see it, especially if in a wreckage.
Yeah.
There's gonna
Yeah,
be
exactly.
char and like all that shit.
So, so essentially, they found in the orange box, they found that the sensor was faulty and it was over triggering the MCAS to repeatedly cause the nose to pitch down.
Oh, and they would pull up and,
And they
pitch
pull
down
up,
and
pitch
pull
down,
out. Yeah.
pull up, yes. And so they found it in the box that it turned on like 15 times.
Jeez.
No shit.
So they kept
And
pulling
there
up.
wasn't. There's not like
Yes.
an MCAS override. Like
So here's the thing.
Like manual control switch.
Yes, there is.
Like,
There
Jesus.
is.
And
But,
it was like, no.
yeah.
but,
Fuck
Trust
off.
me.
Yeah, trust me.
but what happened is
This is not financial advice.
the pilots weren't trained.
Oh.
Okay, so this is pilot error.
Yeah.
I mean, it's MCAS
Is it?
error
Is it?
and it's pilot. It's like double
But
error.
Boeing needs to train the pilots on the new system.
Oh, and they didn't tell them. They're like, surprise, surprise. This is the Max.
Surprise, surprise.
Tutorial. No big deal.
So, of course, because it's an Indonesian airline, it became like, oh, they're,
They're Indonesian.
low grade, and
Yeah.
they're not real pilots.
You can't fly in the U.S.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they really came under scrutiny for that, and that sucked.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And if you could imagine the pilots' families,
Oh, man, that's the worst.
Oh yeah.
because, they were probably decent pilots, and they got fucking railed.
Of
Yeah,
course.
because they were told they didn't have to do training,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
They're like, it's the same plane.
Yeah.
It's the same plane. It just got the new name.
So now this part is very conspiratorial because you don't know a lot of the internal documents.
No.
And you don't know what Boeing said, what they didn't say, the memos, the did they train them enough or did they train them not
At
all?
all? Yeah.
That sort of thing. So that's where it gets a little hard to do research because
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
we don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but the key findings from the investigation of their FAA, it's like their equivalent of the FAA, was that it needed a comprehensive overhaul of the design, the pilot training, and regulatory oversight, and recommended redesigning the whole MCAS system, enhancing pilot training programs to address what do they do. Because
in the case it malfunctioned.
yeah, because in one of the manuals they found that the pilot's reaction error to that should be under 10 seconds.
Oh, and he's like, oh shit, this
To
is what's
turn it
happening.
off.
Ba-ba. Oh.
Super fast, if you
Yeah.
ask me. Like, I don't know. I'm not a pilot, so I don't know how fast you need to know this
Have you ever
shit.
seen the inside of a cockpit? I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
what's happening?
But
There's
10
so many
seconds to
things
do
happening.
it's pretty fast. Anyways, so there you go. So essentially, the conclusion to that flight, to the Lion Air flight, was I consider it pretty.
Blame the Indonesians.
Yeah, well, I mean, a series of different things that I just kind of, nothing changed.
No,
Nothing,
they
like,
didn't.
They
They were
didn't
like,
ground
MCAS is
planes.
perfect.
Yeah, they didn't ground planes. They didn't really do anything, and they
Yeah.
said, hey, let's do more training on the MCAS system,
And they never did.
right? Yeah.
We'll put it on the docket.
Yeah.
And,
Let's say we did, and
yeah.
Exactly.
we'll just sign
You
it
know,
off.
So,
Yeah, look what time it is. Oh, shit, we gotta go.
okay, so then in March, this is like 5 months later.
Okay.
March, and this is an Ethiopian
2019?
flight. 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, there's a little trend here. Like, are they just giving like all these other nations like the shit planes? They're like, meh.
Hey.
Or not,
Ethiopia,
or,
we got some real crisp planes for you here.
or they're not giving them the training.
Oh,
or
'cause
the,
they're just
you
like,
know what I
fuck
mean?
you.
So
Buy
they're
it.
just like, hey, it's like I don't know. Just imagine giving somebody who drove a Model T Ford, and then giving him the keys to your car. I don't know if it would.
Yeah, and then we're like,
I don't know if that's a good analogy
Nah,
because it's so,
because,
it's
like-
so time difference, but
Right.
I'm just trying to understand like more train. I don't know.
yeah,
I
it
don't
just
fucking know.
seems like they're.
Mm.
It's like you're giving them like a new thing. There's like a new, like say you get like a new OS that has like a major change,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, figure it out.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why can't I upload shit the same? And they're
Yeah.
like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you were saying is more so like when you go from like fucking Apple to Microsoft or back,
Oh, right,
you know,
right.
reverse. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to figure that out. But
Dude,
essentially, it's the same
I-
thing. It's a computer.
It's the same thing, but
Yeah.
I
but
literally
there's
can't
little
figure it out.
learning curve.
Yeah,
I know.
True.
I've
It's
tried,
hard.
and I'm like, ugh. That's why you guys like switch to Apple. So one time I literally went to the store and I was like, let me just look at it, and I was like, fuck that. I was like, and not because it wasn't like cool. I was like, I can't do it. It's too weird. It's too different.
It's hard. Yeah.
So on March 10th, 2019, the Ethiopian Flight 302 was a Boeing 737 MAX 8.
So it's clearly the Max, whatever.
Same plane,
It's the Max.
same fucking plane. They took off and they crashed shortly after takeoff.
Was it the same
kinda
thing? Same thing.
kind
Like,
of
they're
thing.
like, what the fuck?
And 157 people died.
Jesus.
They departed from Addis Ababa Bowl International Airport at 8:38. The initial climb shortly after takeoff, the aircraft encountered difficulties, including erratic altitude changes and airspeed fluctuation.
So same shit.
Yeah, they're like up. They're like, nope, down.
The flight crew reported control problems to air traffic control and requested to return to the airport immediately. But 6 minutes later, lost contact, and they crashed near the town in Ethiopia just minutes after the flight.
And when was this? This is in 2019?
March 2019.
Okay.
So the other one was October 2018. This is March 2019.
That's so recent. I would have thought by that point, like they already had that system, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
but here's the thing. I can, and it sucks for the families, and obviously that's horrible. But I can understand an accident happening.
Yeah, accidents do happen.
I can understand it.
But like that.
But the same
5 months,
accident, the same thing means they didn't do anything.
That's what. Remember, it's like too many coincidences.
Yes.
Equals.
because it becomes a conspiracy.
Yeah.
So in my view, after reading this and researching this, they are liable for these guys.
Oh, for sure.
For the one,
Right,
for
because
the
first
one, they're
the
like,
first
this
one's
was
like,
an
shame on
accident.
me.
Yes.
You know,
Fool me
or
once.
shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me once.
So that's my opinion of this is that
Yeah.
they fucked up big time, and
And they're like, we're not.
we're
not changing shit. Boeing.
Mm-hmm.
We're the biggest. We're the best.
That's
Yeah.
right. So they discovered that it was the MCAS system, and so the design of it was to prevent stalls, and so if you're pitched up or down too much,
Okay, yeah.
you're gonna
Oh, the
stall.
engines can stall. Yeah.
So it
It's
corrects
like,
you.
yeah, like just like fuck. Oh.
Yeah. So, but the overcorrection based on a faulty sensor or a fucking bird could hit the sensor because it's literally jutted out of the plane.
Oh shit. So
on
it's
the
like,
outside.
Yeah, 'cause it's like.
Yeah, it's on the outside.
Yeah.
So literally anything could happen, and then the sensor's faulty, and then all of a sudden it's
Which wasn't the
it's a-
case anyway, right? It was like
Yeah.
a bird didn't hit it. It was just faulty, or
yeah.
they didn't know how to use it.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Or do you think it was more like it's just faulty equipment?
It could be like they like didn't program it right.
Right, right.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is gonna be the tits. Everyone's gonna love this MCAS. Give me the shit. And then the guy's like, it's programmed right. He's like, yeah. Oh yeah. And he's like on Fiverr. He's like,
Trust us.
He's like, it's programmed right. You program that
Trust
shit.
us.
Like,
Trust us.
trust us.
Totally fine.
Just plug it in. It's
Yeah.
plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need training.
So, okay, so that crash happened, and then another investigation was done, and then by that time, the world is like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? Like this is now it's
it's a problem.
becoming a thing. Yeah. And so at that time, Donald Trump was the president,
It's like
And-
fucking Boeing. We're
and
taking you down.
he was the first president in history to ground planes.
Oh shit.
For
So he-
this? Or
Overall
ground all planes? you mean?
of a model,
Oh, okay, okay.
All Maxes.
all Max.
Max.
All
Maxes,
Maxes
gotcha.
getting
So
grounded.
Donald Trump grounded all Boeing 737 Max fleet
Okay.
across
Oh,
the
wow.
planet. Yeah. And so we're going to play that clip right now.
We're going to be issuing an emergency order of prohibition to ground all flights of the 737 MAX 8 and the 737 MAX 9 and planes associated with that line. I've spoken to Elaine Chao, Secretary of Transportation, Dan Elwell, Acting Administrator of the FAA, and to Dennis Mullenberg, CEO of Boeing, and they'll be available shortly after our conference today. They are all in agreement with the action. Any plane currently in the air will go to its destination and thereafter be grounded until further notice. So planes that are in the air will be grounded. If they're the 737 MAX, will be grounded upon landing at the destination. Pilots have been notified. Airlines have been all notified. Airlines are agreeing with this. The safety of the American people and all people is our paramount concern. Our hearts go out to all of those who lost loved ones, to their friends, to their families in both the Ethiopian and the Lion Airlines crashes that involved the 737 MAX aircraft. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Boeing is an incredible company. They are working very, very hard right now. And hopefully they'll very quickly come up with the answer. But until they do, the planes are grounded. And you'll be hearing from the FAA directly in a little while. I would say probably in 45 minutes from now, so you'll be prepared to hear. They're going to go into great detail as to what they found and where we're going, what we're doing. But all of those planes are grounded. effective immediately.
It's weird he has that power. I guess you're the
don't
president.
know,
right?
yeah.
Worldwide or U.S.?
Maybe
he,
the
he
answer
probably
to that,
he
I
only
mean,
has the power in the U.S.
I think, but no,
it-
but
it's
here's
a
the thing.
U.S. company.
True.
Correct.
Yeah.
But also, everybody's going to follow the U.S.
Well, yeah.
True.
If
Yeah.
if grounded all 737 Maxes were like, fuck it, let it
Yeah.
ride. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So
They're wrong.
It's like a, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyways,
Okay.
there you go. So that was unprecedented, as
Yeah.
you would say.
No, totally. I mean, at least somebody did something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can.
Yeah, no, I was impressed by it.
I can imagine being like the person in the airport being like, "What the fuck? I don't want this stupid voucher. I just want to get on this flight," and but not realizing what was going on.
Yeah.
Right.
But hey, they could have. There's a potentiality that could have saved lives.
Yeah.
It's totally potential.
I've been on board a couple planes like before we take off, and
Ooh.
there's been a few times where it's like
Ooh.
something's mechanical something or other that they're
You ever
fixing
think
and
it's
shit.
worse than they say?
No, I always actually downplay it. I'm like, whatever. It's like whatever. But like maybe
Yeah.
after this episode, I don't know, man.
Then my parents went to this wedding in Arizona, and they were on the runway for 2 hours, and then they were literally like. They were like, yeah, it's a little thing with a little part missing. And then they're like, you got to get off the plane and get a new plane.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I was like, oh, my God. They almost took off.
Also, they don't. They like turn the AC off and like fucking,
that's the
you
worst.
can't get up.
I know.
You're
And
like,
then you're trapped
What the fuck am I
in their
doing?
little tiny
I
prison.
know.
One time we were taking off from New York, and there was a bunch of there was something that happened that delayed everyone, and there was a bunch of planes just waiting,
Stacked, yeah.
just stacked, waiting to take off. And so they were like, "Look, we're waiting. It could take 20 minutes or it could take 2 hours." And then they turned off the AC. But I was traveling with she was 6 months old,
Ew.
and we ran out of
Uh,
the food or milk. You know.
Yeah.
Was it Isa or is it?
Yeah, Olivia.
Oh,
This
wow.
is
So this
years
is
ago.
long.
Yeah,
Okay,
years
okay.
ago. And then she starts crying. She starts getting like.
You're like, let me off this
So
fucking
then,
plane.
so then the
Outraged.
guy comes
Outraged
over
off.
and they're like, "Look, it's up to you. We can turn around, go back." We were already like
It's up to
out
you?
there. We were already in line.
It's up to you.
Yeah, he's like, "It's up to you."
You're like, this is so much power.
Well,
I don't know, what do I do?
no. So we were like, "Look, are
Or he's
we
like,
going to
turn
go
the-
back?"
Take off. Take off now.
We were like, "We can't wait here."
Skips the line.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You are the
No,
bad.
we were like, "We can't wait here
Put
for
the
3
bunny
hours."
in the box. Sorry.
So we made him go back. Everybody fucking hated us, dude.
Really?
Like they
Weird.
had to go to the back of the line.
That's kind of cool that they did that though.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I was like,
Good.
"Look, I'm gonna do this for my daughter. Like, fuck everybody else on this
I know.
plane."
I don't want to give a shit. Like, literally, I'd be like,
that's
yeah,
pretty rad.
but everybody hated us.
I
dude.
love that
We
they're
were-
like,
we
it's
were-
up to you. Like, they're like, we're not responsible for this.
I
Like,
know. Well, he was saying it in a way of kind of like, "Look,
Yeah.
don't make us go back, but it's up to you."
yeah.
You know, but everybody's gonna hate you. But
well,
it's up to you.
Yeah, you're a piece of
I'd
shit.
be like-
It's up to you.
I'd be like, can you bring me 1 or 2 more gin and tonics?
I know. It's
And
like,
then
I think I can find
I'm
a way
gonna
to
think-
sleep this off.
Let's think this through.
I know. It's like, how many Bloody Mary mixes you got back there?
Anyway.
So after a while, after the investigation, and they really fast tracked the investigation
Oh, I
because
bet
all
they
the
did.
planes were grounded.
Yeah,
You
they're
know,
like
the entire
losing
fleet was
so
grounded.
much money.
The United States DOJ, the Department of Justice, they charged Boeing with fraud conspiracy
Oh wow!
related to the certification and marketing of the 737 MAX series,
And nobody did any time for that.
following investigations into the crashes of the Lion Air flight and
Yeah.
the Ethiopian flight. The allegations that Boeing misled regulators and airlines about the safety features of the 737 MAX, particularly the MCAS system. The MCAS system was designed to automatically adjust the aircraft's angle of attack to prevent stalls, but faulty sensor data led to its activation, causing the aircraft to pitch downward uncontrollably over and over.
Mm-hmm.
But like, did anybody like get
Figure out
any-
why?
Well, no. No, I mean, like the DOJ is like, we charged this company with like, did they
Yeah.
send some motherfuckers to prison? Like, did somebody had to pay?
No,
some
nobody went
fi-
to money,
No.
or nobody went to prison.
Did they have to pay some
Fines?
fines?
Yes, so it's a big fine.
I know, but it's still like, oh, to pay money. Like they make $60 billion
So-
a year. They're like,
So
damn.
this is what
Fine.
It's like the 2008 crisis. Like
I know. They're
everybody
like,
just gets slapped on the wrist and
it wasn't
Yeah.
even a slap on the wrist. They're like, how much you need to get back in business? They're like, no problem.
oh,
We're gonna give you.
You got a bonus too? We'll cover it.
I know. It's like, don't worry about it. It's all part of the plan.
So the CEO resigned.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
at the
but
time.
it's a golden parachute resign.
And
Yeah, we're
no,
gonna
and
be
he
7
got
million,
his
shut the
stock.
fuck
His
up.
stock payout was in about 20 million.
But he got it.
Yep. As
Golden
part of a,
I resign. I would fucking resign too.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
as part of the prosecution agreement with the DOJ, Boeing admitted to deceiving the FAA
Oh, they had to admit.
about the MCAS system and agreed to pay $2.5 billion in fines and compensation.
Did they pay the families of the fucking people who died?
So they created a family fund of $500 million.
Where'd the other $2 billion go? Who's the government's?
government.
The government's like,
No,
thanks.
to the government.
The government's
Yeah.
like, thanks for
Yeah.
that, bro.
To
That's
the
for
FAA.
lying. That's for lying to us.
Honestly, honestly,
the
to
families only get half a
Fucking
billion.
honestly,
mafia,
to the
man.
FAA
That's such fucking bullshit.
and to other regulatory.
See, this is
You know.
okay. This is where like, things could become a problem.
I know, like, who cares?
I know. Fuck
Yeah.
that. Like, what
Like,
about the
who cares?
families?
Yeah.
The
That
families.
$2.5 billion should go to the family, right?
We've set
100%.
aside $50 per family,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then we're gonna take the rest.
So essentially, what happened is they created a fund for the families, and it was $500 million. The fund,
Okay.
and so you have 189 from Ethiopian flight,
And then
and
157.
then or the other way around, 189 for the Indonesian flight,
Mhm.
and 157 for the Ethiopian. So that's
330.
330. But then you take half of that for lawyer fees.
Oh, so like each family
third.
gets like 20
Usually
grand.
take a third.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
third. So what? 200 million of the 500.
For 300. So each family gets. It's like they get like 800,000. Then they probably have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah,
Wow.
So each family's getting like.
$1 million. I mean, minus
No.
taxes. Minus
No,
taxes.
they're each
Before
family's,
taxes.
each family's getting
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
800K
Yeah.
because there's
After
there's,
taxes.
there's 330
Yeah.
and there's only 200 million.
Yeah.
Like after taxes,
yeah,
after
I get
taxes,
more for my
yeah.
fucking life
dude,
insurance.
after taxes they're getting like
crazy.
400K.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And then meanwhile the FAA is like, we're not paying taxes on this.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, bitch.
I thought it was. I know the numbers sound big, but
They're not big
they're
at all.
not
No.
for 400 people.
Right.
300 and
No,
whatever people.
especially when
They died.
the FAA is getting $2 billion for getting lied to. How did they get to? They didn't die. The FAA's family didn't
That's
fucking die.
bullshit.
I know. I mean, if I was a real in journalism,
Oh yeah.
I would try to find out where the money went.
Oh dude. Oh yeah.
Where did it physically
Yeah, where
go?
did that
Where
$2
did
billion get
where
spent?
did the wire transfer go? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to be wired somewhere.
Yeah, like
I don't know
it's
how it
like,
works.
It probably went to like Judge.
Yeah,
The
Terry
FAA,
McDonald.
the FAA lost it like the Pentagon lost it.
yeah, exactly.
Oopsie daisy.
Can't account for it.
I mean, we had an internal fire that we did not report. I don't know what happened.
The building came down.
I know, it's
Yeah.
like,
Big deal.
don't look at my Cash App account.
So, in addition to the financial penalties, Boeing committed themselves to implementing changes to its safety and compliance programs to prevent similar issues in the future.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're really.
The agreement aimed to hold Boeing accountable for its actions while allowing the company to avoid criminal prosecution if it complied with the terms of those agreements and implemented those new terms of procedural oversight, so to speak.
So now they're like, okay, we won't pursue criminal things if you do this, and then now it's like they're still like, well, we told them to
Yeah.
study. I mean, we won't just.
So now there's a couple documentaries that are out about a lot of this. One of which is called Downfall. It's on Netflix. Check it out if you guys want.
Totally. I was watching a Netflix thing on the Malaysian flight,
Yeah.
which I looked up
Yeah.
earlier, and that was a Boeing 777. Yeah.
So John Barnett, who is going to be the focus of our part
He's the main
2.
whistleblower. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be the main focus of part 2 episode that we're going to do. But he is in that documentary
While he's alive.
while he's alive, saying their standards have gone so low that they are like something's going to happen.
It's
Like,
just like-
it's
it's like
crazy.
it's
It's
like-
actually
Yeah.
he's like, you know,
Predicting
It's probably like the same thing that happened with like Volkswagen when like they got fucking they were like
That's right, yeah, yeah.
defrauding
Yeah.
like the emissions data that they were going. They were like plugging in like a tertiary system that was telling them like, oh, there's no emissions, and then they were like, what's
Yeah.
this? And they're like, oh shit. And they're like, fuck.
So also I couldn't not bring up what happened in April of 2024.
Oh, Alaska Airlines.
Yeah, so Alaska Airlines flight
Because
1282.
Eric was born in Alaska. That's why.
Well, no, I mean,
yeah.
literally the
I mean, yeah.
it was a terrifying experience. It's
For the
on
people-
TikTok. It's on the video.
I know. I did see it.
The
yeah.
fucking door
the door flies off.
flies off mid-flight. Mid-flight.
Can
This
you
is
imagine,
so
can you imagine
crazy,
sitting in the
man.
seat next to the door?
Yeah. Well, didn't
Guess
that
what
person
plane
fly
it
out
is?
or no?
No,
Oh,
no,
shit.
no, no.
No, nobody
Oh
flew.
my
Okay,
God,
I
no.
thought somebody
But
got,
here's
got
what's
sucked
crazy.
out.
Bathroom break. It's sucked out.
Here's what's crazy
You're
about
like,
it.
sir, put your seatbelt on. Eric's like, I'm going to the bathroom.
Here's what's crazy about that is
I'm the guy that never puts the seatbelt on. I'm like, fuck you.
I
man,
hate
fuck
you.
this shit.
God, I hate you. I would be the
You
guy
hate
who'd be
me?
like, put your seatbelt on, bro.
I always.
Hey,
You're like,
bro.
you'd be the stranger
Bro,
next
yeah.
to me and be
Hey,
like,
put your shit on airplane mode.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Eric's like, hey, SA, put the seatbelt on.
This is your first time flying? 'Cause, no, guess what plane it was?
737.
Max.
Max 9.
Okay.
So it's like a running trend here that the Max planes are fucked.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check if I go on a
What the
flight.
fuck?
I refuse to fly on a Max. I'm
Yeah.
not flying on
So
a Max.
here's what happened. Essentially, they were flying out of the northwest, I think it's Seattle, and within about, I would say 15 minutes of the flight, they only got up to about 15,000 feet,
Okay.
which is like half of your...
Yeah, because cruising
Your
altitude is
ascent.
like 30, 35,000.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
you're like halfway. You know, that like 10,
You're
15
still like
minutes.
you're still going.
Yeah, you're like cruising through the town.
And then you
know?
hear the
yeah,
boom.
yeah, exactly.
Seatbelt
And then
sound.
all of a sudden, the fucking door flew off, and there just happened to be
Oh,
somebody who
crazy.
nobody sat there, because one of the things.
Otherwise, they would have fucking.
yes,
Done. That's what I was.
100%.
Oh my god, that'd be like the worst.
Can you
Like,
imagine
great
being that seat?
if you get sucked?
I would
out.
hold on to you.
Sir, let me go. Okay, get the fuck off me.
Jorge would be like, I didn't put my seatbelt on.
He's got a blanket over. He's like, the
Help me,
seatbelt's
sir.
on.
Sir. Eric's like, I told you.
He's
Yeah,
like,
I told
Eric's
you.
like,
Now it's time to
you
go.
deserve to die.
Yeah.
I know. One casualty ain't that bad.
So you learn.
So the sudden depressurization caused by the blown out door created chaotic and,
Oh, dude, of
kind
course.
of like chaos. Like just,
I mean,
yeah.
what? Have you ever put your arm outside the window going like 90 on the highway? Shit ain't fun.
Yeah.
It is
Like-
wild though. If you rewatch the video, you see the city lights.
Oh yeah. for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
It's just kind of a weird,
But
surreal.
in that video, I
I
didn't.
feel like Steven Seagal is gonna jump out and be like, "There's a bomb on the plane," and like,
He's gonna,
I
like,
don't know,
karate
yeah,
chop
like
some dude,
take
like-
the door.
like-
Why am I speaking in an accent? I don't,
You don't sound like Steven Seagal at
Yeah.
all.
at all.
give me a Steven Seagal.
What is
You know, just look at the serious.
Oh
face.
no,
He's
he
like,
likes
he's
to
like,
whisper.
Oh yeah, he's a whisperer. He's a whisperer.
You fucking dead.
Okay. Yeah.
No, but in that video, I didn't see a lot of
Chaos?
commotion, chaos going on. I mean, obviously you see the door, but like people, I don't know, walking around or screaming. Nothing.
I would have
didn't
been.
see that.
I would have been screaming my fucking bloody murder.
There's no video of when it
Happened.
happens.
No, yeah.
It was like after the fact.
Yeah.
I think that's when people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a picture."
and they're
of this
just
shit.
coasting.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
So
I would have I would have sounded like Chris Tucker in fucking Fifth Element. Was Ruby Rod?
Yeah.
Fucking. Straight up, like fucking whimsical scream.
So fortunately, the flight crew quickly responded to the emergency. They initiated emergency procedures. They immediately descended to a lower altitude, so the cabin pressure was fine.
Yeah.
And they stabilized the aircraft, and then they went to air traffic control.
We're like,
And they
create a
said-
spot now.
Yeah, and they said, we're fucking landing.
Yeah.
The door
Yeah,
flew up.
yes.
Like, we're out of here.
But in this day and age, fucking TikTok rolled it hard.
Of course.
And, social media or whatever. So that was
Yeah, TikTok
pretty
was
wild.
Oh, that was trending
That was
for a
pretty
little
wild,
while
and
there.
it falls into this. And then what happened afterwards was one of the main whistleblowers of this whole Boeing evolution from the 80s to the 90s.
Yeah,
and
he
2000s.
worked there for like 30 years.
Yeah, and he was testifying. He was
Yeah,
testifying.
he was mid the test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mid, and it was like day 2 of 4,
Yeah.
and apparently, and witnesses say he was happy-go-lucky, and kind of there was no indication
of
of
depression
anything.
or
Yes.
No, that dude was like
suicidal
The
thoughts
dude was like
or
a good dude. He was
behavior.
a good dude doing the right thing.
Yes.
Like, he was doing the fucking right thing.
And so
This
then,
is a case of silence him.
so
Oh, yeah.
so then what happened is he was staying at a hotel because he was there to testify at a random town or
Motel
whatever.
6.
And then a receptionist of the hotel lobby said they heard a pop. They police came to the truck. He had a truck or whatever,
Okay.
and he was found with a gunshot wound to his head,
And there was no gun in his hand.
and the
there's-
gun was in his hand.
And there's
Of
no
course.
there's no video of this.
No video.
I mean,
Of course
He would-
not. And this is John Barnett.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it happened like inside his room or something,
it
fine.
was
I
inside
can
the
understand.
truck.
There's, yeah, but I mean, if it was in the truck in the parking lot, there's no video.
Maybe it's a shitty little motel or something. He's trying to like stay low key. Maybe like a hooker in there or something. It's like trying to stay off the grid.
So Barnett has been working for Boeing for 28 years. And he
He
started
knows some
to.
He's got the juice.
He was in the quality area, and so he started to say, "Hey, the quality's going down," and he started to become a whistleblower. You know, I know that word is a little weird.
Yeah.
But he started to express concern, and
Yeah, it's someone on the inside who's like, hey, like, and he's probably went to his superiors and they're like, shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I gotta tell somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go over the history of those flights, Boeing,
Totally.
that sort of thing. So that way, now we know everything leading up to it. And then on the next episode, we're going to go into the life of John
And
Barnett.
there's weird thing. Sorry, just real
Yeah.
quick. There actually are like whistleblower laws now
Yeah.
to protect
Yeah.
whistleblowers
Yeah.
from like
Like what? What?
from persecution. Like a lot of the whistleblowers, they can't be like terminated from their positions. Like
Yeah,
they,
there you go.
Like they
Yeah.
can't be like pretty much
I
put
can
into
imagine
like
a whistleblower keep working there. Like you'd be miserable.
I would never want to work. there.
No, hell no.
But if
I know what you mean,
What
like,
if like
there's
what if
shit
you-
in
like, what if
place.
you're like him? You worked there for 30-something years, and like my pension, I get my pension in
True,
like one
true,
year,
true.
like 6 months.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to do the right thing, but I'm
Yeah.
still trying to get paid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Especially because
Oh,
his
he got
job
terminated,
was.
all right.
oh, he got he got fucking.
What's
terminated.
crazy too is his job is to do that. Like he's the quality
It's the
inspector.
quality
So it's
inspector,
like his job
His
is to
credibility.
Yeah, so it's
is
just kind of confusing why he
high
would not
credibility.
continue to do well. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's because he was giving the answers they didn't want.
Exactly.
Oh, for
Or
sure.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh no, they were probably like, listen, John. Just look, we'll make it worth your while. No, you know. What do you think? What do you? But it was like, they were like, what do you care about a couple Indonesians? You know, going down and playing. Come on, John.
Johnny boy.
He's like, my wife's Indonesian, bro. And they're like, shit.
Yeah.
Terminate him. Terminate.
So next episode, we are going to go over the life and what happened with John Barnett all the way leading up to his death, including some more details about his death.
Yes.
Also, there's Joshua Dean, recently within the last
Yeah,
month.
like literally. Like
Also
2 weeks ago.
died under mysterious, like a staph infection.
Yeah.
He was also a whistleblower for Spirit, which was a supplier of Boeing.
I'm sorry,
the
but
main
like no
parts.
one has died from a staph
Yeah.
infection in the last 70
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Like, I promise.
I don't know. The whistleblower died of dysentery.
It's like Oregon Trail. Literally, like you got Ebola.
Jesus Christ. So that's what we got tonight, guys. Thanks a bunch.
Yes.
Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll catch you next time on the Conspiracy Podcast.
Nighty night.